All right. So happy New Year, right? It's January 2nd.
Mhm.
So it
That's
kind of
it? It feels like it's at least February 14th. I don't know.
it is so true. Mackenzie and I have been talking a little bit this morning around. So it's January 2nd. Now what? We're supposed to have all these plans figured out. I'm ready to go. And all the goals, the holidays are behind us. And so it's January 2nd.
Yeah. So we don't have any more excuses. Like you
No?
said, no more holiday parties. All the things are put away. So it's like, oh crap, now I got to do it.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. And it's funny too, because some of our previous videos or just some of the agents have been talking to also, I think the last couple of days have been that moment of I have these goals. Now, what do I do to kind of get started? How do I accomplish these goals at the end of it? It's great to have things on paper. And now I've visioned everything and I've got all these pretty poster boards. So again, how do I get started and how do I go? And am I already feeling overwhelmed January 2nd?
Because we're overachievers for the record.
Well, that's part of it.
Yes. So, but that's okay because many people watching this are in the same boat. I think that we are. And, last night and yesterday, just kind of getting my week ready to go. And then I just kept adding things to it, adding things to it. And I was like, who do you think you are that you can get all of these things done today? And so I kind of took a step back and then I spoke to you a little bit because God bless you. You're the one who takes me down to where I need to be. And again, it's January 2nd. So that does
Yeah,
not mean that all of my goals for the entire year must be done by January 23rd.
right.
Right. And so I think today we just really, if anyone else is feeling like us, and I hope they are, you and I are just these two crazy ladies who are just trying to sell some real estate
Right.
and build a team. How can we take a step back? Right. How can we say, okay, great. We're going to do what we said we're going to do because of who we are and who you are watching this. But let's give you some actionable things. I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 ideas of let's scale it back. Because I think something else, you and I have worked with a lot of agents over the years. And it seems like if people don't have instant success and maybe that week 2, 3, maybe the end of January, everyone just I shouldn't say everybody, but most people abandon everything that they wanted to accomplish in a year. So how do we not let that happen?
It's wild too, right? Like essentially January 2nd is just another day.
Mm,
It's just another day. But we've set all these like emotional parameters around these resolutions or goals or whatever they are in these first couple of weeks, just like you said. And I shared with Mackenzie this morning, health has been like a huge paramount goal for me this coming up year, but I've been under the weather. I'm still under the weather. And so this morning I felt this monumental weight on me of like, you're not at the gym. You didn't get up at 4:30 in the morning so that you can get ready to be there. And already I was mentally checking myself like I was failing. I was failing something I haven't even started yet. And how crazy is that? But yeah, taking that step back is like if it's actually a goal, if it's something I really want to achieve, the when I start doesn't really matter as long as I achieve that goal and I start working towards it with little actionable steps there too. So
And
yeah,
a little plug for a great book that Atomic Habits, right? We're just trying to get 1% better each day. And we
mhm.
can't do that until 1% plus 1% plus 1% will eventually equal that 100%. But to your point, if it's January 21st that you start that particular thing, because yes, you do need to take care of yourself. And I would have been mad had you gone to the gym this morning anyway. Um, it's just a number. And I think that everybody gets so wrapped up into that,
Yeah.
us included.
Absolutely. And we want to be transparent with some of these recordings too, right? That
Mhm.
everything looks great on social media. We're selling houses. We try our best to have our hair done some days when I'm videoing, but behind the scenes, right? It's not always perfect. It's not always pretty, and it's not always buttoned up and put together. It's just not. So trying a little
I'm
bit of transparency.
I'm only laughing because if they knew what I was wearing off underneath the sweater, I'm
So
wearing something for the record. But
So it actually is a good story. Mackenzie was doing a little filming prior to this, and
and it calls for some casual wear. And so then I hop on here. I'm like, well, wait a minute, Pam, you look so professional. And let me put back on the sweater I had. But I still have some casual pants on underneath. And so, but listen, this is how we're going to get everything done that we want to get accomplished. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be imperfectly perfect and just the way it's supposed to be.
That's exactly it. It's going to get done. It's going to get done at the end of it for sure.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, so girls. So
We
what are
digress.
so what are some steps? Like what's maybe an idea that you have to kind of help people maybe make that first step to get on the path of success this year?
Well, this is going to be weird that I'm plugging another book, but I actually went back and reviewed it yesterday when I got myself in this hamster wheel of, oh my gosh, I have to have everything done in 30 days versus 12 months. And it is The Gap and the Gain. And it's basically, he reminds you to work backwards. So I made a transition. I would have thought it was 6 months ago because I've been go, 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 go. But I went back in my journal and I made this transition on November 9th. That's it. It hasn't even been 2 full months since I have decided to transition and to partner with Pamela and Capital to Coast. So when I actually was like November 9th, it's not even January 9th yet. And when I looked back at everything you and I have accomplished in less than 60 days, I'm like, I'm an effing rock star.
Crazy, right?
I mean, a lot of the stuff's on the back end. Again, to your point, people aren't seeing it. Maybe it's not flashy on social media. But we have done so much in 60 days and we are so focused on the next thing and the next thing. And we feel like we haven't done what we think we're going to do. So this book reminded me to work backwards. Where were you 90 days ago? 90 days ago.
Yeah. So moment of reflection, just see where you are. Yeah. A little inventory, right?
Correct. And you might not like the answer, and that's okay too. I happen to love the answer of where I was, right? Just because I was like, oh my gosh. But to your point, that self-reflection of where were you 90 days ago, doing that working backward, checking in. And if you're not okay with that, great. What can you do? 1, maybe 2 things so that when you reflect back in the next 90 days, you're like, hell yeah, I'm a rock star.
Absolutely. I love it. And one thing I'll tell you, I've implemented from you, I know you've been really great to make me think about things in different ways. So, I think sometimes goals can feel so overwhelming because they are so here. They're big and they're high. And you've kind of helped me get really granular on the details of the how. So if we're going to say, I'm going to do social media, awesome. That sounds great. Sounds like something that would maybe move my business forward. But to break everything down from a daily standpoint of where I'm going to post, but not just that, but what are the topics? So, because I think we don't accomplish things sometimes because we have great intentions, but then it's like, all right, I need to do a reel. What am I going to do a reel on? Oh my God, let me look back through my photos. And that's not setting the tone for success. But if we get really detailed and have that plan, then literally all I'm doing is implementing. So I wake up, pull it up and go, what am I supposed to do today? Perfect, done. Or ideally on a Sunday, I could check and see what am I doing for this week so I can plan for it. I can look and see what the weather is going to be like, etc. And so I'm not panicking and reacting to things that are happening and feeling this pressure like I've got to get all this stuff done. No, girl, just make the plan and do it. That's it. Just get really detailed. I think that's my takeaway the last 30 days is to get even just more drilled down into what you're trying to do.
If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. And I literally on my calendar was film, and it was this, and it was, I had this chunk of time and this is when I was going to do it. And yes, and I had to, because full transparency is this YouTube channel is freaking me out. Not freaking me out, but it's like, when in the hell am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, Mackenzie, you have to figure out which day is your taping day, your recording day. That's your day to do it. And the trick is to be able to tell other people, clients, listen, I can't show you today, or I can't do this day because this is my day to do this or whatever. And so I think that's also where we get a little bit off track, is boundaries and trying to set them for ourselves.
For sure. And then the bringing up the whole calendar piece too. I think that would be another big probably takeaway that I would pass along to most people too, is just get really strong on, like, when is your team meeting? When are you, like every Tuesday we do calls at 9:00. So I know when those time blocks are for growing my business and to add the video, but have it all in there. So you're detailed, and you're scheduled. So now you know what you want to do. Now you kind of have an idea of how you're going to do it. And then your calendar is going to tell you when the hell to do it. So
and something that I implemented probably 6 months ago, because there was just so many things coming at me with just so many different responsibilities. And so I used to just block my calendar, my to-do list, right? Because they tell you to not have a to-do list. They tell you to have 3 major things to do. And absolutely, there was always 3 things that had to get done that day. But for me, it used to be more than 3. There just seemed to always be. So what was helpful was I time blocked, I just put block on there. And in the, on my calendar in the description, I put what 5 things on my to-do list I was going to accomplish in that hour. Those are the only 5 things that I was allowing myself to work on, because that was the time that I allotted so that I could be like, okay, great. I've gotten this finished. It was focused time for whatever I needed to do. So it's not even block out, put like to-do list or personal stuff. Like, what exactly are you going to do? And what can you, and I'm still working on this, what can you realistically get done in that hour? Because I cannot get all the things realistically in my head that I think you can get done.
I'm a little aggressive on that sometimes too. My husband laughs.
And then you feel like a failure because you didn't do it. And I'm like, well, God, but I just did 7 other things, right? Yeah. So however you do a calendar, because I know you're old school and you love your paper thing. I know. And so old school, or if I'm on my phone or on my computer, because I can always bring it up no matter where I am. If not, I'll double book myself. But see, even in your to-do list, be very, very specific what you're doing in that hour. And that has helped me tremendously to accomplish what I want to at the end of that day. So that would be one more trick to do in your calendar.
Yeah, I think all of those details, it's amazing how it can help feed your mindset too. So we always talk about, there's the 2 levers that you kind of have to be mindful of when you're looking at goals. One part is the mindset part, keeping yourself straight. And the other part are the action steps, the tactical pieces, the things that help you make money, but they all have to tie together. And so the more efficient and the more actionable items that you do, that you accomplish, that are moving the needle, it's funny how it's that positive swing then on your mindset, but the same can be said the other way. If you're not doing enough, then you can suffer from a mindset problem, which can go directly back to not hitting your goals as well. So you just have to be really mindful of that relationship. And yeah.
Absolutely. And how it's perfect timing. I listened to a podcast this morning, and it was actually another EXP agent, and he asked us to visualize like a triangle, a pyramid. And he said that the very bottom of the pyramid is your mindset, and the very, very tippy top, the tiniest part of the triangle, are results. Mm-hmm. So that's just saying that between the bottom, the base of the triangle, and everything else, it's all that other stuff that will then eventually get the results. So I thought that was a great, great visual to remind ourselves too.
I love that too. That is the foundation, as you're, and I was reading some things today around just positive attitude. Like I sometimes call myself Pollyanna or Susie Sunshine sometimes, but I think that can be a real attribute, because when things become kind of tough, if you can lean on that positivity. So I love that. Just that foundational piece of mindset will get you to the results, but you just have to
absolutely. So if you can say to have a good mindset, yes, well then the results are going to come, and you can stop worrying about the outcome, because you should be attached to it anyway.
We got to tell ourselves that sometimes.
Sometimes I'm in the season of life where it's every day. Fine.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Do we have any other tips for people to not freak out on their 2024 goals already?
Take a deep breath. I think we're not solving the world's problems and accomplishing all of our goals in the first week of January. With that being said, don't let it be an excuse for inaction that you've got all this time. So striking that balance, I think, around sense of urgency to get things done without tearing yourself down in the process, but do the simple steps, do the details, do the little things. All of those matter, and they stack up for big results in the end.
Well, and if everything's urgent, nothing is urgent, right? And if everything's urgent, nothing is important. So I think reminding ourselves too, whenever I was making this big ass to-do list for today, it was like, I went back and like, okay, wait a minute. You and I as a team and as partners have these 5 main pillars of the business for 2024. So I just made sure that each of the things I wanted to accomplish today could have fit under one of those pillars. 2 things didn't. So I was like, peace out.
Out today.
And, yep. Take care, whatever. And so I think not only writing down your goals just to write them down, but to go back to them and to ask yourself, okay, I feel, there's going to be some days it's just going to suck and you're going to be busy and you got 7,000 things to do, because we all have big goals and want to accomplish a lot of things. But going back, if you can't fit under your pillar, kick it to the curb.
Yeah, I think that's good. And that's another thing. I think just constantly reminding ourselves, what are the priorities? What are we really working towards? I love that. You remind me of that constantly. So I appreciate you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, Happy New Year, love.
All the kids do the little heart thing. I can't do that.
Well, awesome.
Right. Is that all we have? I think that's pretty good.
I think that's all I got today. Let's keep it simple. Yeah.
That's right. So let's recap, got to recap everything so people understand kind of what's going on. And so, we all have lofty goals for 2024, which I'm not going to say should, but most of us would like to have them. They all don't have to be accomplished in week 1. It's okay. January 2nd is just a number. January 1st is just a number. But like Pam said, don't let that away for you to not take action. You're never going to feel 100% ready. It's never going to actually be perfect. But just do what Pam and I do. Just lean on each other. So give us a call. Do the best that you can do and work on here, because then the results, like the triangle said, will happen. So
that's it. That's a great recap. I love it.
Right, cool. And I'm going to go now put on my business pants since I've got my casual pants on.
Sounds good. You guys, we're going to have some crazy videos for y'all to enjoy and hopefully laugh with us in the future.
I get nothing else. Stop the recording. We're going off the rails.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.